I really wanted to get back into doing entitlements work. Welfare reform had happened federally, and the whole program was upended. Instead of having a national entitlement program, we had a state-by-state program that was really under attack, had very harsh rules, and I felt like I wanted to get back into working on that and working against the most negative pieces of that program and really help families still navigate this new system. Monmouth County just presented an opportunity to do that. I had some involvement and connection with the county. It's where I grew up, where I had been living, and thought that I could make a bigger difference there. So started doing that, moved there to do that at Ocean Monmouth. Worked with Connie for a few months. I knew Connie from L.S.J., where he had been running the statewide task force meetings and doing all the amazing work that he always did before he went back to Ocean Monmouth as the director. So went back there to work with him. He actually left a few months later to come back to L.S.J., but did that, started doing all of the entitlements cases, eventually ended up taking on both the entitlements and the housing work for the project. It was a very different kind of role there. I was really working independently. I was it. So there was good and bad in that, but it really gave me an opportunity to say, what can I do here? What can I take on? Sort of what's the vision of what I want to do? Got in and met with the directors, got in and met with all of the community members, really tried to work with families. And in those days, it was the very early days of Work First New Jersey. And the caseloads were dropping dramatically around the state. Families really lost hope, I would say. It was dramatic how quickly families felt like they didn't have any opportunity, that they were getting cut off, and that was just the way it was. The agency's message was, this is short-term, this is temporary, you got to do this or you're going to get cut off, and they didn't think they could challenge or fight anything. And we were pushing back on things like, if you're going to ask someone to go into work activities, you have to provide them the tools they need to do it. Is this an appropriate activity for someone? Are they getting childcare? Are they getting appropriate transportation? You know, is this even something that they can do? Had a client who, for example, had a shoulder injury and couldn't lift things. They put her to work in a daycare center with toddlers. She had to lift toddlers. She couldn't lift toddlers. Another young woman who had recently suffered the loss of a child, and they put her to work in a daycare. It was a horrific thing that they did. They didn't even consider the damage that they were doing and the depression that she was suffering with. Another with anger management issues, and they sent him into a senior center. There was just not an appropriate placement for him. So we did a lot of that work in the beginning. Things like making sure that people going out to job centers and training programs, really making sure that people know their rights, their responsibilities, and what they could do to advocate for themselves, and what we could do within legal services to advocate for them, to make sure that they were getting the quality services they needed and that they weren't being penalized and cut off for things that they simply couldn't do. So there was a lot of that.